Before we start to look at all the improvements that have been made to Explore Farmington, I thought I would just take a step back and give you a brief overview of how we got here. And in 2016, the EDC's marketing committee was tasked with upgrading all their marketing materials. And that group met and decided, you know, we better figure out who our target audience is. Let's figure out what we're going to be promoting, and let's figure out why we're going to be doing this. So after doing certain strategy sessions, we came up with the idea that really what we needed was to really start making and developing relationships with this community. And we needed to make connections. And who the target audience was, it was going to be our residents, our employers, our employees, and our visitors. So now that we knew who we wanted to speak with, we knew what we wanted to tell them, pretty much all the wonderful things that make this community as successful as it is, how are we going to get there? So the EDC approached 7 local marketing firms and had them give us proposals to get all this done, knowing that we do have limited staff and also limited financial resources for a brand new initiative. Well, Evan Dobis, who owns Civic Lift, was the person chosen to help us. And what his company does is it specializes in creating community engagement infrastructure. So what does that infrastructure do? It allows towns throughout Connecticut of all different sizes to really start to engage their community, to really start to make meaningful relationships. Because what did the EDC want to be known as? We wanted to be known as that single point of contact for communication. So if a business is looking to expand in Farmington, if a business is looking to come to Farmington, if there's a new resident trying to figure out what's the best pizza restaurant, we wanted to be that source of trusted communication. We wanted to make sure our communication was current, trustworthy, relevant, and really hyper local, because it was going to be interesting for our end users. So it's funny because Civic Lift has realized now, after doing these websites for other towns, that it's really brought about not only measurable economic growth, but it's also really brought vitalities to these communities. So we went and embarked on this, and in November 2017, we kind of did a little soft opening. We kind of put some feelers out. Some people started looking at it, and in January of 2018, we did a big unveiling at one of our business breakfasts. And yes, people loved it. People signed up for it. And you know that saying, build it and they will come? Well, we thought the hard part had been done, all the hard work. We built it. But did they come? They came, but they didn't stay. Why? Because already people were very used to getting their information from different online sources. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. All of a sudden, we were competing with all these other platforms. So we decided that the best thing we could do is really start to drive content and drive people to Explore Farmington, because we were sure once they landed there, they would see its value. So we decided that summer that we were going to write a weekly email. We chose the summer because days are longer, people are looking to relax and there are more events happening. And we thought if we did a weekly email and mailed it out to our distribution list, then people would start to know what events were around and start using the site more. Little by little, we realized it was working. We realized it because a couple of times people would email me and say, my friend forwarded me your email. How can I get on your list? All of a sudden, we saw more and more businesses putting events on Explore Farmington, because as they told me, when you mention it in that email, our audience numbers go up. So we knew we were doing something right, and we knew it was a good idea. But the summer ended, and I thought my writing of weekly emails was over. But Kat advised me, well, before we stop these weekly emails, don't you think we should survey everyone and see what they think? And sure enough, everyone responded to the survey. A lot of people responded, and they said, please don't stop those weekly emails. They continued to grow. And then instead, when you can't beat them, join them, we said, okay, we're going to do our own Explore Farmington Facebook page. We're going to do our own Explore Farmington Instagram and even an Explore Farmington Twitter page. All of those efforts started to leverage one against the other, and the site started to grow. And we did start to be known as the in place to get your local information. But it really solidified in our minds the importance of this investment in this infrastructure when in March 2020, it seemed that in a blink of an eye, the world shut down. Now, all of a sudden, we needed information. Everyone needed information. And I spent that first weekend working with Evan Dobis, really taking our Explore Farmington site and being able to transform it into a COVID-19 response site. Now, all of a sudden, our businesses were able to tell the community what were their new hours. Our residents could understand who's offering testing. We could get the latest resources to our businesses, whether it was PPP loans or what safety guidelines they were going to be opening with. So the ability for this infrastructure to change that quickly was something that Evan had told us about, but we really saw it in action. Then what really was very rewarding was in April, Ion Bank called me and they said, everything that's going on in Explore Farmington and these weekly emails and the communication and the relationships you're developing, that's how Ion Bank does business. And we'd like to sponsor this initiative because we think it's that valuable. So those are two things that in my mind really told us we were on the right track. And sure enough, we took some of that sponsorship money and decided to reinvest it right into the site and make it even better because it was now almost 5 years old. Before we go to the site, let me just tell you some statistics. Last year alone, we sent out 77 emails with an open rate of 30%, which is pretty good, those open rates. My marketing guru over there is shaking his head yes. They were a total of 4,504 clicks. I'm amazed when I look at this reporting that everything is down to the click. We have 9,017 unique visitors and users of Explore Farmington in the past year. We have 452 registered users. Those registered users are people that want to promote their business and upload information about their events. 3,972 events have been submitted so far. That's almost 1,000 events a year. And we found out that 68% of the visitors come to the site directly, which really speaks to the fact that there is site awareness in the community. And 10% of people are coming to us from Facebook, which again verified in our minds that using social media really was that constant reminder that allowed us to keep growing the site. 38% of the visitors come from Farmington, 14% from Bristol, 10% from Granby, and 8.5% from Avon. And events, when you'll see here, 50% of the users really spend most of their time right on the events page, which is not, it's very not surprising at all because most people want to find out what's going on in town. So our Facebook page more than doubled this year from 9,168 likes or friends or whatever you measure it to 22,445. And Instagram reached 3 times more people this year alone. Last year, we had 816 followers, and now we have 2,518. So all those numbers means that, yes, the community is using it, it is valued, and it's doing a great job. So let's go look at Explore Farmington 2.0. So what we did was, you can see right on the top, we made sure that we had joined the newsletter. That's very important because when you join that newsletter, that gives us your direct email. And now that email address allows us to communicate with people who have told us they want these emails. So we're not stuffing lots of emails in people's inboxes that they don't care about. The landing page itself tells you exactly what this is supposed to do. It's supposed to help connect our residents and businesses. And then we have, if you scroll down, Anna, you can see that, excuse me, we've also added a very fast way to find the events calendar, our businesses, or our stories. The bottom part is our Facebook recent posts, and you can also look at some of the later posts too. We thought that was important because, again, we want to grow Facebook, we want to grow Instagram, and we want to leverage all these different communications channels with each other. So now let's look at the events. The events page section hasn't changed at all. But for those of you that kind of want to know the ins and outs, this particular page is very important for us because it allows everyone to upload their own events. We really don't have the staff to be able to upload and find out all these different events. But when people upload it themselves, if there's any type of a change in their schedule, of all of a sudden the event has to be moved virtually, they can go right in the site and edit whatever they've submitted. So that's a very important thing. When you go to the places map, we've had, I think, over 400 places uploaded to the places map. And there you can look, let's say if somebody wants to find out all the restaurants in town, they can toggle off everything except for food and drink. And then right there on the map are all the food and drink restaurants. You hit any one, tap on any one of those, and sure enough, you'll see the Farmington Farm Truck. And you can visit their website and it goes directly to that business. We are just kind of the connector in town, but really we want that connection to be made between the consumer and the store, the resident and the business directly. We feel that is the best that we can do. When we go over to stories, those are really local blogs that we like to write about. Ion Bank is that first one. They do a monthly column. I've told various people that they can also do columns. So anybody who likes to write and write about things that are happening in town, I welcome them to be authors. We really just try to continually make this site interesting, because if it's very stagnant, you won't want to keep coming back. We want you to keep coming back and say, I wonder what else is new, what else is happening. But the real upgrades have been in the guides. We always had an Eat Local guide, Shop Local guide, and Stay Local. We've added a couple of more guides, but we've also made the guides look a little bit more interesting. At Eat Local, for example, we have all the different restaurants in town. We've added all their logos so people can see the brand and start to connect with that brand. And then at the very top of the page, you'll also notice that we have different filters. So if you want to know which restaurants have outdoor dining, you tap on the outdoor dining, and there it shows you at a glance, all those stores have outdoor dining. And so those filters make looking through a little bit easier. And again, that connection is made directly between that end user and the business. In addition to all those guides, we've added a gift card guide, and that really starts to, again, support our businesses. How can we best support our businesses? Any business who gives out gift cards, they have imported their information directly to the site. And again, view gift card, it goes directly to their site, a nice, great connection. And then under the guides too, we have the Farmington Center Walking Guide. As part of the Farmington Center Village Center Committee, we were tasked with doing a walking map. And so we have 3 different walking guides. The first one is historic places, and that was made possible by Betty Kuykendall, who gave us this inventory of magnificent detail with all different historic sites. We also have the Farmington Historical Society Freedom Trail for those people who want to take the Freedom Trail. And then we have the cultural institutions, because right there in Farmington Center, we have quite a great, within walking distance that you could visit, quite a number of different institutions. So that was a nice addition that we were able to add. When we go to resources, again, that resource page continues to evolve and change with the times. As many of you who may manage businesses or own your own businesses may know, that right now the hardest thing to find is a good employee. So we partnered with Indeed.com, and we have the Farmington Jobs Hub. Any job that's listed on Indeed.com that happens to be located in Farmington is now listed right here. We're still working on this because there's no filter yet. So you kind of have to scroll all the way through and find a job you may like. But if you go to the top and you just tap on Indeed, you are able to go directly to Indeed. And if you go to, are you able to do it? Oh, okay. And it goes directly to Indeed, so you can check other sites if you like. And also with Connecticut Hires, that's the Department of Labor's resource site for those people who need extra skills or want to change careers. So we added that to it as well as an additional resource. Oh, wait, and it gets back. Okay, going back to resources. We have resources for business, and those are resources that go directly to the sites, whether it's a state site, whether it's an SBA site, the Connecticut Recovery Bridge Loan Program. So whenever something is coming up that's a resource for business, we list it on this site. So this site also is always evolving and changing. After that, we also link to our own local economic development site, which is our Choose Farmington. And that site is loaded with demographics, resources, again, for businesses. And so we try to put everything in one location. So instead of having to look at millions of websites or scour different newspapers and things of that, we can all find something right in one location, which we thought was very important. Also under resources, we worked with our racial equity task force, and they had said how they really would love for us to have more businesses that are minority-owned, women-owned businesses. So what we did, we researched and added all these different programs. There are federal programs, state programs that help those entrepreneurs and hopefully entices them to relocate right here in Farmington. I think the other resources we have are healthcare resources, which just points out CDC and our Farmington Health District, and also puts some major hospital healthcare industries that we have there. And then the final resource at the bottom, how to help. And that one, again, we continue to change it. When we first put this up, I think the first resource that was listed, how to help, was Feeding America. And we decided instead, let's make it super local. And we start off with the Farmington Food Pantry. We also have how to donate blood right here at the American Red Cross, which is right on Farmington Avenue, how to make a mask. Again, trying to find those resources that people are looking for. So overall, those are the upgrades. We can always be changing them and trying to find new ways to do things. And I thought maybe if anybody has any comments or questions, we can do this now and then finish up with the data.
Right. Questions, Brian?
Just one question, which number one, I think that is just absolutely spectacular.
Oh, thank you.
I just love watching the growth and expansion of our audience and of the content on Explore Farmington. Because I remember when we started it, how wonderful it was and how we struggled to get people on board. And I just love seeing the growth. So congratulations to you and your team for doing that.
Yeah, it's an effort by a lot of different people, that's for sure.
Absolutely. One question I had though was, and we talked about this over the weekend.
Yes.
Because we have so many people going there, is it possible, or is it even, is it possible to put maybe town news? And by that, I mean, if we have road closures or things that the town wants the citizenry to know about that they may not see or always get on something like maybe the Patch or go to a paper and not see. Can we put news items on it like that? Well,
we have been putting, I thought about that after you and I talked during the road race, and we do every Monday, we do all the weekly town meetings that are going to be taking place. So we do a post on that. And then I thought about it. And when we do have different road closures, we have, like, for example, when we had the Route 4 here closed, we made sure that we wrote a story about it. And then we posted it on our Facebook and Instagram page. And during Stormy Isaias, we had a daily email that went out giving me updates. When is your power going to be restored? What's happening? So we have done that on occasion. And I think perhaps the best way to do it is through those stories, through the blogs, to be a little bit more consistent. Because I think you're right. People do want to, they're craving that news, and we don't really have a local newspaper just for Farmington. So adding some news items is something we'll definitely
It
consider.
just seems like a perfect vehicle for that.
Yeah.
Rose,
Yes.
maybe where that could go is on, like, because I get nervous because that's what a lot of the website is, but it gets lost in the town's website. But
Yes.
maybe like on the front page, because on the front page of our town website, we have like the top news items. Maybe we could mirror those
Yes.
top news items. When those change, they go onto your website
Exactly.
too. So
Yeah.
it's sort of the
No,
same
that's a
thing,
great idea.
something along those lines.
Yeah, we want to make it front and center so people, it can't be hidden.
And I love how you integrate everything. And that's just another perfect example of integrating information. Put it in the
Yes.
clearinghouse. Excellent job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
And I appreciated the news when you did, as you said, you had those road closures, you had the updates during the hurricane. So
Yeah.
it was a great start on that, but continuing through would be.
And when we first did this Explore Farmington infrastructure, we didn't realize, we didn't anticipate all of that. But when we were hit with COVID, we were hit with Stormy Isaias, boy, were we happy we had it. It was really a great investment.
Other questions?
Yes.
Ed.
Oh, sorry. I'm not the one supposed to be calling on you.
No problem. So I definitely echo Ryan's praise. I think you and Evan and others that have been involved have done a great job with the website. It was amazing to
Thank
see it
you.
as a COVID resource during the height of the pandemic. And it's amazing to see all the growth and people going to the Explore Farmington website. My question is on kind of like the different parts of the website, the events, the places, the stories, the guides, and the resources. I know you were talking about clicks before. Do we know like which one of those sections gets the most clicks?
The most clicks is events.
Is events.
So
Okay.
people are spending more than 50% of their time looking at events.
Mhm.
And believe it or not, some of the stats even tell us how long they spend. And I guess they're spending over 30 minutes on some of them. And I think that the way I go on some of these sites, it's 30 minutes because it's on my laptop and I go answer the phone or something. But I do think that it does, people are interested and they'll go into it, right to the events, read it. So it is interesting to see, but it does show us that people are using it and staying on it for a little bit of time.
That's great.
Chris?
Thank you, Rose, and I'll echo the comments too. But I think just one thing that I know, does West Hartford do they have a sort of a community marketplace where you could sell things? Is that something that we could do on that, or?
You know what? I think that might be difficult.
Okay.
To start getting involved in the buying and selling and all of that. I know Facebook has each community has their own buy and sell type thing. I don't know if that's really something we could do. But West Hartford has something that I'm kind of envious of, and that is WeHa, which is just their West Hartford kind of online newspaper source. And it's really quite robust. That is something I would love to be able to do, but something more to those lines. A marketplace, we might be able to refer to it and drive people to some of those marketplaces, but it's a little bit difficult because I would never want to endorse something that I'm not 100% positive of. So there's a little bit of a, hesitancy there.
Okay, great. No, thank you.
Other questions? Okay.
Anyway.
Well, I'm just going to say a couple of things. One, I love the maps. Obviously, I've been to some of your maps. It's great. It's great to see where the restaurants, where the businesses are, but also the historic maps and discover what we might not have realized and discovered in the past. It's great to have it all there. The businesses. can a business add themselves? Is that how it
Yes.
generally works out?
They add themselves to the places map.
Okay,
And then many businesses, many times will call me and say, I don't know how to add myself. So it allows me to kind of engage that business a little bit more. So there's another benefit to it. So they add themselves to the places map. And then when we did the guides, we really wanted to make sure the guides were as complete as possible. So we did the guides, internally in-house.
great. So there's some outreach also to the businesses?
Oh,
Well,
absolutely.
Great. And it's, I mean, I will focus on some of the comments you made earlier as far as the outreach. During COVID, you really became an essential business for our businesses because so many of them needed the assistance that you gave them to help them work their way through the uncharted waters of PPP, of outdoor dining, of outdoor seating, when it then became a parking lot, how they actually approach TPZ to have these conversations. So thank you for all that. It was tremendous to have it up and running before that. And I'm just excited to see how it grows going forward.
Yeah, I am too. It's kind of like Kathy says, it's my baby.
Yeah.
And I just want to thank you also for taking some of that information from the Racial Equity Task Force and implementing it into the program and finding those resources for people.
Oh, I couldn't believe how many resources there were when I did the research. It was wonderful to see. So I hope it's just another tool that helps us get to our goal.
Well, you're starting it, so thank you very much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Absolutely.